Good morning, everyone. As we have people joining in today, I want everyone to shout out their schools in the chats. That would be awesome. I'll give it a couple more seconds as we have people are joining into the call. Awesome, awesome. I see some shout outs. If you are joining right now, we're just asking if you could shout out your school in the chat. That would be awesome. Nice. Well, as everyone's shouting out their schools, I will start and kick it off. Well, first off, good morning, everyone. My name is Oscar Alvarez, and I'm so thrilled to be hosting this special virtual event with all of you guys today. On behalf of the LA Rams organization, I just want to give you guys a warm welcome to each and every one of you guys joining us to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. We're absolutely delighted that you could be here. The purpose of today's event is to engage in meaningful conversations, to provide inspiration through the stories of local heroes curating our panel, also key character development, and how to create your own personal pathway towards success. Our agenda today includes introductions of our special guests, a video that features Los Angeles Rams youth football team, the Lincoln Rams, an in-depth moderated Q&A session that will also include questions asked from students, and we hope to gain perspective, insights, and inspiration from our speakers to apply in our own lives. So as you guys are continuing to shout out your schools, feel free to drop questions in the chat as well. But as we kick it off, I'd like to emphasize the importance of Hispanic Heritage Month. It's crucial for all of us, no matter our background, to celebrate the achievements made in society and our football community by the leaders like you'll hear from later today. But before I move on, I want to give you guys some information on myself. My name is Oscar Alvarez. I am the HR analyst here at the LA Rams, and I've been here for 3 seasons now. And so I oversee a multitude of things across the LA Rams, including all the hiring and offboarding of all of our employees across the LA Rams. I also am the business partner to our international marketing, community, and ticketing team. So really what that entails is I help out on a day-to-day with those teams on anything HR related. So maybe it's a promotion, maybe it is an equity adjustment, or maybe there's an employee relation issue happening amongst the team. I go in and I help out, but I also recruit for those teams. So always looking for special members to join the LA Rams organization. And I also go out to different universities across the LA Rams or LA area and kind of bring the excitement of Rams over to those. But now I want to kind of introduce our panelists that we have today. They will share their title, job responsibilities, and how long they've been at the Rams. So I'll kick it off to Mia over here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mia Hernandez. I've been with the Rams for 3 seasons on our partnership management team. So I started as an intern with the Rams, and then after a full season, I was promoted to be a partnership management coordinator. It's really a fancy title for saying I work with all of our partners or sponsors of the team. So it's a pretty cool job. No day is the same. I get to work with different brands like a Nike, an American Airlines, a Pepsi, to bring to life some really cool things. So that could be anything from signage in a stadium, some social media content, or even just sending some emails all the time, some meetings and everything. So no day is the same. I truly enjoy it. I get to work with so many different departments in the organization. But it's a really cool job.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Mia. I'll pass it over to Brandon.
Hi, my name is Brandon Bonilla. I work with the Football Affairs Department for the Los Angeles Rams. This is my third season. Prior to this, I was working in equipment for the Los Angeles Rams. So, being in Football Affairs, I now work with current players and former players, and I help them with their day-to-day needs in terms of our current guys at the facility, whatever they might need, from car washes to haircuts to help find a realtor, whatever I could do to help these guys have an easier day at the facility. That's my goal. And in terms of former players, I help them in terms of whatever they need marketing wise or any type of needs they have, I can help them with. And I'm here to help all players, and current and former.
Awesome. Andrea?
Hi, good morning, guys. I am the Benefits and Payroll Specialist here with the LA Rams. I recently just joined the team 2 months ago. I came from a completely different field. So I came from the field of agriculture and HR. And here I kind of just help out with all the payroll. I do all the processing. As well with benefits, I help out employees decide their benefit plans and what they need. As well, I help out with events and coordinate fun events for our employees.
Thank you. And last but not least, Pedro.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks, Oscar. Yeah, my name's Pedro. I'm the digital coordinator here with the Rams. Like Mia, I started off as an intern in 2022, so last year. This is my second season with the Rams, and digital coordinator, kind of everything that's not social media related is kind of what I do. So the website, the app, a little bit of our YouTube channel. So help in terms of getting our videos and then putting them onto our website and our app. A lot of behind the scenes work with what I do, but it's a ton of fun, and I love interacting with our team, whether it's our marketing team or our production team, but kind of touch all bases, given that all departments within the organization are on our website and need stuff on our website. So really cool in that regard in terms of just getting to interact with everyone, and it's been an incredible experience so far.
Amazing. Thank you all for sharing. I think so often we see that football careers are only accessible on the field, but I think right here we see amazing staff members that are driving change across the LA Rams organization and in so many different areas. Now we'll transition to a powerful story that highlight the LA Rams youth football team, the Lincoln Rams. So we got a nice video.
As soon as you plant, go back out quickly, okay? It's too soft.
We've heard the narrative. Police and a community of color.
See, you're already moving forward. Let's go.
Mistrust, violence, a broken relationship.
Gun battle last week in Lincoln Heights.
Has a bad perception of just gang violence.
The person who shot them was affiliated with a street gang.
Step at an angle, okay? Step at an angle.
Not many make it out.
Totally engulfed in flames right now.
That's what I want to see.
But here, things are changing. And the game of football is bridging that divide, creating a new narrative.
There you go, nice one.
So this is our story.
It's one of the older suburbs of the city of LA. Big Hispanic community. A lot of hardworking families. I'm currently with the LAPD Community Safety Partnership Bureau, and so we engage community by building these bridges and relationships. I started this program in 2012. The Lincoln Heights Tigers. I thought, hey, football worked for me, kept me off the streets. Funding was always an issue, equipment, but we always found a way.
And that team quickly became a connective tissue here. The once fractured relationship among police and community has begun to heal, while different corners of the community are unifying around this program.
We met for me coming here in being a patron?
Well, we've always been supportive of youth programs. We do support them monetarily because our youth is the future.
Coach Joe, whenever he's looking to recruit any kids, we'll host like a little table outside, like a little pop-up, and make sure that, parents are informed about the program. They focus more on building that relationship within the community where they build that trust with the youth and the families that live here. All these partners that are in the community, they're all willing to help each other out.
A community like a flower does not become a flower without anybody watering or taking care of it.
From this groundwork, the way forward becomes clear. Gang participation and crime among teens continues to drop each year, while grades and graduation rates improve. Our youth, our future, empowered to realize their potential.
I was born and raised here in Ramona Gardens. It's different now. It's more programs for the kids, and there's less crime. So my kids, I feel like they're not out there in the streets.
I have to have good grades to play, so that also pushes me in school.
I think there's more exposure for them to different opportunities that are out there for these guys.
This program set out to show these kids that practice and persistence pays off. And it's working. With success stories for them to hear and say, that could be me.
We had moved to Lincoln Heights, and I didn't know much about the area. And I ended up playing for the Lincoln Tigers, and they recruited me off the street. I've been a football player since.
Jaquil Kendricks, he's the captain of our football team. He leads by example, everything that you look for in a young man.
I had picked up 2 scholarships from West Point and Idaho. I'm blessed to have those kind of opportunities, and especially for my family who, not a lot of us made it out.
Even as we keep hustling, building, growing, we know we can't do it alone. We're right there, but need a final push for greater resources, better access, and more exposure. So we knew who to call.
We're getting ready to unveil the Lincoln Rams' new uniform. We're so happy to be so authentically involved in this community through the Lincoln Rams, and really to provide these kids access and opportunity and resources that maybe they didn't have before.
So with this program under Project Blue, my job is to create these partnerships. And I was able to bring some Lincoln Tiger coaches down to SoFi Stadium and introduce them to the incredible Molly Higgins. And from that moment, the Lincoln Tigers were on their way out and in for the Lincoln Rams.
When we told LAPD that we were going to do this, one of the sergeants, he said, I just wrote this date down on a notepad. And I said, why? And he said, because this is the date that will forever change these families' lives.
What's up? What a cool day and what a cool opportunity to make this community a part of the Rams family. But let me tell you something about being a Ram. It's all about we, not me. Today, the unis are in. Bring them out! Oh, boys, how we doing? Looking good, baby. And give the cheerleaders a hand, too. We got another little surprise, too. We've been able to partner up with some friends of ours at Albertsons, Vons, and Pavilions to be able to have a gift card for each and one of your families.
So thankful to the Los Angeles Rams for stepping up and helping us out and spreading new light on this community.
The game of football, bringing a community together to heal, to rebuild, to flourish. The work isn't finished. There's still a long road ahead. But with all of us walking together, we can keep reaching higher.
Whose house? Whose house? Whose house?
This is only the beginning of our story.
Just a powerful story. And as we build off this film, I have questions for our panelists here. So let's start with you, Brandon. In the video, we saw the community rally around the youth football program despite the lack of resources. When have you had to be resilient and find success with limited means?
Absolutely. As a kid growing up, I played a lot of baseball, and it's probably one of my favorite sports to this day. But just being in an area and growing up in Connecticut that didn't have the best baseball fields, we didn't have the best equipment. Those were very challenging things. Not having the best stuff as other teams or other communities in your area was definitely a challenge. But being able to, go through different programs in our communities and having access to mentors and different people that can help lead us, that was a huge help. So just having that community around me was huge, and it helped us not think about how bad the fields were or how bad our surroundings were. There was always more to it, and I'm thankful to have those type of community programs in place to help me succeed and get to the next level.
Absolutely, super helpful. Mia?
In life, you're always going to face different challenges and adversity. Oh my goodness, I can't even talk today. But different challenges and have different amounts of resources available to you. For me, growing up, neither my parents or grandparents went to college. So I was very fortunate where they were very supportive of me and really wanted me to have those opportunities. So as I got older and it came time to apply for schools, I didn't have the same resources some of my friends had. They had parents who had been to school, who knew what to do. And I was kind of in this position where I didn't really know the first steps and how to go about it. So with that, I took advantage of the resources that I did have available, which was my school's counselors. It was really weird going to them and some teachers and kind of asking, like, what are these first steps and how do you go about that? And they were very helpful in pointing me in that right direction. And then from there, I also then became a little more comfortable asking other people. I started asking my friends, what are you guys doing? Where are you applying to school? Asking teachers to proofread my essays just for the different applications, or even coaches on what their advice is for me. So you may not always have those resources available to you, but reaching out to people who do have the resources and getting their take on how they went about things is something I highly recommend. It's not always easy to ask for help, and especially with something that you may be a little uncomfortable with, but it'll always benefit you to go out of your way and do that.
Yeah, being proactive about those resources are definitely helpful. Pedro?
Yeah, I think Mia and Brandon both touched on some really important themes and I guess motifs that have constantly come up as I've faced challenges and kind of persisted and continued working toward my career, working toward any goals that I've set up, and those being both community and asking for help, and both of which work hand in hand together. And those have been some of the biggest things that have helped me as I've gone along and throughout school and pursued my job and asking my professors, my teachers for help, and moving to a new town and building that community around myself with like-minded people who have similar goals, similar aspirations, and kind of having those two resources, both the ability to ask for help and the community to bounce ideas off of or rely on when I needed something or needed help with something, was super important and has been up until this day. And I think that's two of the biggest things that I would say help the most.
Awesome, thank you. And Andrea?
Yeah, so I think everyone kind of already mentioned it. There's a lot of challenges that we face. But as Mia mentioned, I think one of my biggest challenges was going to college. I didn't have the same resources as a lot of people did. I had to rely a lot on going to my teachers, counselors, and even like friends, like family friends who had gone to college just to get resources and just try to get the most help I could. There was a lot of challenges, especially because sometimes, as Mia said, you're uncomfortable. But I think just putting yourself out there and really relying on the community and whoever is willing to just help you out, I think it's really important. So my number one advice to anyone is just making connections and being able to find those people who are really going to go above and beyond to help you, because I think those are the ones who extremely go. And that's the way I found success and was able to get myself through school. And I learned a lot. There's a lot of challenges, but definitely relied on my community.
Thank you all for sharing. And as we look, the Lincoln Rams, their Lincoln Heights youth were also able to avoid the pool of gangs, crime, thanks to this football program. Who or what helped you give strength as a young person when faced with peer pressure? And Andrea, I'll start with you.
Great, thank you. So I think the number one people who motivated me to continue being strong and not fall into peer pressure were my parents. My parents were immigrated from Mexico, so obviously they wanted to come here to provide us a better life. I wanted to do better for myself and for my family, so I made sure that I never fell into those things, and I always wanted better for me and for my family. So with that, I decided to go to school, and as I said, I had to go through so many challenges just to get there, but I relied on the community and my parents a lot, so they were my motivation.
That's awesome to hear. Mia?
Similar to Andrea, my family was a big influence on me, but I'll take a different route with this one. And another thing that really kept me from falling to any peer pressure was being an athlete. I grew up participating in sports my whole life, I've done soccer, track, cross country. I think I did softball for a little bit, tried a little bit of everything. But having that in my life has allowed me to gain a lot of different skill sets and kept me on that right path, because you do need good grades to participate in sports. You do have to have good time management, and you're surrounded by a lot of great people who are working towards a common goal. And you do learn how to goal set and work hard towards to complete those goals. But sports has definitely been a strong influence in my life, and I highly recommend it for anyone. Even if you're not looking to go pro, it's a great introduction into life skills that you'll find very beneficial later on. And who knows, maybe it's your intro into working into sports, similar to all of us here today.
Awesome, thank you. Pedro?
Yeah, I think for me it's kind of the same as my parents and just kind of the people I looked up to, and both with what my parents told me and how the people I looked up to behaved, and just those values accompanied with how I conducted myself and where I wanted to go kind of helped me. And of course I succumbed to peer pressure from time to time, but it still allowed me to kind of realize that, like, okay, if I want to go somewhere, I need to behave a certain way, or I need to conduct myself a certain way, treat people a certain way. And I think that's the biggest thing that helped me not succumb to peer pressure as much.
Thank you. And Brandon?
I think all pretty similar to the other three panelists. Family is so important to me. Seeing my abuela, my abuelo out in Puerto Rico, seeing the way they were living, I wanted to get better for myself and my family. So really just keeping the main thing, not losing sight of my goals. And if anything, also myself, just staying ambitious and going back to it, just staying on my goals. That was the biggest thing, is if I can just knock down one of these goals, and I think the path would be better for myself, and it was better for myself. So my family and just myself and my goals, that was the biggest thing.
Awesome. I love hearing from you guys. Family, sports, goals. There's so much inspiration that you can get from your stories. As we saw with the police volunteers, everyday community members can be heroes or even sheroes by volunteering their time. Who are some of the people that impacted your career journeys? And so start with you, Mia.
My parents were the biggest impact on my career journey. So, if I'm being fully transparent, when I graduated college, I did not get a full-time job right away, and it wasn't easy. So, I had this intro in working in sports in college with our athletics department, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I can make a career out of it, and I wanted to go for that. But it's not always easy just to move on from that college athletics into a professional sports job. So, I told my parents I was gonna not just take any job out of college. I was gonna give myself some time to find a job I was actually passionate about. And it took 3 years because we ended up having that pandemic too, which was not any more helpful for me. But during that time, despite, maybe some family members not really sure why I was going to take another internship out of college or why I didn't just switch to any job and just get that full-time position. My parents were very supportive. They knew that I was passionate about this and they had faith in me. So relying on them is what helped me get through that time.
Awesome. That's lovely to hear. Andrea?
I'm very similar to Mia. I think it was my parents, but also my godmother. She was very a person who influenced me to pursue the career I wanted. So as I said, I came from agriculture. I was not very familiar on what I wanted to be in my career. I kind of was just moving around. I actually had experience in mortgages, cosmetic for recruiting, and as well for agriculture. So kind of falling into the sports industry was not in my vision, but I have been very blessed to be here. And with the help of my parents and the people who I have met in these organizations, they have really been the people who have guided me throughout my career. And I'm very fortunate for that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Love to have you at the Rams. Brandon?
I am in the same boat. Family is so important to me. They are my backbone. My mother, my father, my sister, they have been with me through the ups and the downs. I continue to face failures to this day. It's something that's just going to happen in this life. I'm going to have success, but there's going to be some days that are rough. I'm not always going to have a great day, and that's just the way it is. But my mother, my father, my sister, they look out for me every day. We're in constant contact, and they just want the best for me, and they're constantly motivating me for better. So although I may fail sometimes, I'm thankful to have my family to have my back.
Great to hear. And Pedro?
Yeah, I think as I've come along in my career journey, there have been numerous amount of people that have helped me and given me pieces of advice or written me a letter of recommendation or spoke highly of me to someone that I was interviewing for. But I think one person in particular that kind of instilled in me values of hard work and doing something you love was my old football coach in high school. Big, scary looking man. His name was Chris Dahlman. He used to play in the NFL, and he had a fused neck. So anytime you wanted to talk to him and he was walking in front of you, he would turn his whole body around, and it would take him a really long time to kind of turn around and like see who's looking at him, see who's talking to him, answer your question. But the way he conducted himself and what he did and just kind of how he behaved, you could tell that he was passionate about what he did. He didn't have to be there. We all knew that he could be retired and just doing his own thing, but instead he decided to come back to the same high school that he went to, coach football, and be the dean of students. And he would always talk to us, given that we were his players, and he would always instill these values in working hard and brick by brick, meaning one step at a time. The house is going to build itself, putting the hay in the barn, all these like tropes and all these motifs and metaphors that have kind of stuck with me and kind of carried me along in my career journey. And just remembering that, okay, it's not all going to happen at once. There's a lot of work to be done, and just kind of continuing along and always remembering my coach and knowing that if I find something that I love and I'm passionate about and that brings people joy, I think that's something that's super valuable. And of course, like I said, there have been hundreds of people that have helped me in this career journey, but people like that, like my coach, that kind of instilled these small things in me that I still remember to this day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Whether it's a football coach, family, there's so many people guiding our careers each and every day. One thing Brandon had touched on was, the experience of failing and facing adversity. And so for the students listening, can you guys share how you guys deal with adversity? Pedro, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think like I said, it's hard to not get discouraged in the face of adversity. I mean, uh keeping it real, it was so hard getting a job in sports. It was so hard getting an interview. I kept a spreadsheet during the pandemic of all the applications I filled out, trying to at least get an interview. And I must have had over 120 different applications that I filled out, applications that included putting together a custom resume, a tailored cover letter, a reference sheet, and all of that really, all of that rejection really dissuaded me, and just it put doubt in my mind that, okay, maybe sports isn't the right thing. But like I said before, it was my coach's words in the back of my head saying, brick by brick, keep going, like, be persistent, something will happen. And eventually I started getting a few interviews. 100 applications later, I started getting one interview, two interviews. So I said, all right, if it's going to take 100 applications to get one interview, maybe I need to submit 500 applications to get 5 interviews. So that's kind of just the mentality that I've carried, that as long as you keep going, you're not going to fail. If you don't fail until you stop trying. And that's, as cliche as it sounds, that's something that has proven true to itself as I've gone along.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I think that's awesome for everyone to listen in. Andrea, what about you?
Yeah, something similar. For me, it was in my career, it was more about like school-wise. Growing up, I was always bullied a lot. Being called names or stuff like that. So I think for me, it was just mostly being able to prove people wrong and to prove to myself that I was not what people would say about me. So that was always my goal, and like trying to make sure that I knew what was true and not. So I think that's a big challenge, and I know a lot of times students get bullied a lot. So I would say just always make sure that you know your strengths. You have to know that you are stronger than these people. You have to have the willingness to move on and be willing, having the willingness to work hard for what you want and to achieve your goal. I think that's the number one thing. But yeah.
So thank you for sharing, Mia.
I think with me, I'm very similar to Pedro. I have had a lot of coaches in my life, and one of them mentioned something that's really stuck with me, which is control what you can control. You're always going to face a lot of challenges. Some are going to be bigger, some are going to be smaller, but you always have those throughout your life. And it's best to take a step back. Don't let your emotions get the best of you in the moment. Collect yourself and think through, what can you do in this situation? Maybe something small, maybe something big that you can do that can be impactful, but you can't control everything. And for me, that's something it took me a while to learn and get used to, because I can be a little bit of a control freak sometimes. But really, what can you do, and come up with a solution from there? That's what I would recommend.
So I love control what you can control. And Brandon.
Absolutely. We face adversity every day. I'm a true believer in it takes a village. It takes a lot of support. You got to have great people around you. That's something that's so important. And in terms of, things you face, your mindset. Talk to yourself as positively as you can. There's so many things that we deal with that are negative. There's so many negative things that are going on around us. But what we can't control is the way we talk to ourselves. And I truly believe that if you talk to yourself in a good way and positive affirmations, good things will happen, and we'll just be in a better mindset. So I would just like to say, talk to yourself positively, and just have a strong mindset, know you can do it, and failures happen. It's just all about how we react and get through it.
That's awesome to hear. I think the positive affirmations is something that we can all grow and learn. It's your inner voice that kind of teaches you how to be that person externally as well. And so it's kind of something that I have a question about. It's like, what core values shape who you are and guide your life? And so, Brandon, I'll start with you on that one.
Absolutely. To this question, this is something that we can control. And I truly believe that, your character says a lot about you. So being respectable, we all have a choice to kind of treat people the way we want to be treated. And we should always be treating people good. I truly believe in that. And being polite, there's no problem with holding the door open for a lady or saying thank you, yes, please. Little things like this can help you grow in such a long way, and people will see that and they will appreciate you and respect you for that. So that I truly believe in that.
Awesome. Sorry, I was stuck on the mute button. What about Mia? What guides you in your life and your values?
I've grown up being very family oriented, and one of the values that they've really instilled in me is just hard work, and seeing how that pays off with them has really trickled down to me. So I just have always used that as a very guiding principle, and I've seen a lot of positive benefits, whether that be in school, whether that be in sports, in my work, but even just with relationships that I have with different friends and people. Reaching out to them, making time for them, relationships also take work too. So keeping those friendships strong, because those honestly will get you through some tough times as well.
I'd love to hear that. And Andrea?
Some core values for me is being having empathy and compassion for others. I think that's very important, especially in today's generation. I feel like a lot of people don't have that. And it's also be having acceptance to others. That's very important. Everyone should be accepted. So yeah, those are my core values that I really go by.
So, man, last but not least, Pedro.
Yeah, I think my parents kind of had like a yin and yang in terms of the different values that they instilled in me. And that's so funny as I talk about my dad, he's calling me right now. But my dad never said much. It was more of how he behaved, and he would always work hard. On Saturdays, we would be out working. He would take me with him, and I would see hard work through him. My mom, she instilled in me the values of education and always embodying a growth mindset and continuing to improve, and not what she said, but how she said it. As I was going through middle school, she was working on her master's degree. As I was going through high school, she was working on her PhD. As I was going through college, she was transitioning from a teaching role to now a directorial role. So constantly seeing that improvement in my mom and constantly seeing that hard work in my dad and just the success that they had and kind of how I wanted to make them proud and be more like them is kind of why I try every day to embody both hard work and the value of education.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing. I think as we're growing up, we see the world around us, whether it be relationships or different things like that. That's what shapes our values. And it doesn't matter if you're in middle school, high school, or even in a professional life, we're all building that value in how we treat ourselves and how we treat others. Well, right now, I want to kind of, we asked some students to propose a couple questions. And so I will ask these and anyone can jump in and answer them. So it is a little bit of a free for all, but what's the most important lesson you learned as a student that still guides you today?
I can hop in with this one. I think the most important lesson that it honestly took me a minute to learn, and I really kind of started to grasp in college, was just to be comfortable being uncomfortable. It's really when you go out of your comfort zone that you are going to learn new things. And sometimes you learn you like different things, you venture out and try new stuff, but it's really what I highly recommend people to get used to. I honestly wasn't a big talker in class, and I've learned how to speak up in meetings now, and I've found it to keep trying new things. So I highly recommend doing that.
I can say something else. I guess something I learned as a student is that procrastination will lead you to bad habits in life. If you procrastinate, everything will be left for later on. So I think that's one thing that I for sure have implemented in my life, just trying to avoid procrastinating in my everyday life, just because it will eventually lead you to bad habits.
Yeah, thank you guys. I think whether it's being uncomfortable with the uncomfortable or stopping those procrastination habits, I think those are great tips, especially as students. Those are things that everyone faces even today in our jobs. Another question we have are, what is the most resilient or determined you've had to be in your journey? And then how did you stay persistent when facing that resiliency?
I'll hop in here. My goal ever since I was a kid was to become a Major League Baseball player. Unfortunately, I did not get there. I got released in the minor leagues, but something that happened was I had to figure it out. So being released, not getting to my goal, things happen. It was a failure. Things happen. But how do I bounce back? So being able to bounce back and find a job in sports was awesome. You know, it helped me through so much, and having this opportunity with the Los Angeles Rams has just been absolutely unreal. It's been amazing. And although I may have failed in not reaching my initial goal, I know that there's still more for me out there, and I know I can still succeed in this avenue of sports. So to those out there, you know, failures happen, but it's how we bounce back. And I'm on the bounce back right now, and I'm really looking forward to more.
Yeah, kind of on the same tone. How you respond to failure is something super important to keep in mind. And I've faced countless numbers of fails. I talked about all the applications I submitted before in trying to get a job in sports. And I think God, it's a quote that's been told hundreds of times, but insanity isn't doing the same thing over and over again. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So kind of if you fail, you can't do the same thing and expect something different to happen. Something has to change. And I think that's where those learning points come from. So in the times that I have failed, I've looked at what I've done and kind of taken a step back and realized, okay, maybe I need to do something a little different, or maybe I need to try a little harder in this area. And kind of continuing to do that. Sure, you're going to fall 100 more times, but if you get up 101 times, that's all that matters. And I think that's super important to keep in mind as you're going forward and continuing to challenge yourself.
Andrea, where are you gonna go?
Oh, I see some questions on the side, so I just kind of wanted to jump on here and talk about them. I know that Amy Paris had a question that was there anyone who didn't support your dreams and career choices? I think I've had hundreds of people not support me, I feel like, in this time, but you know what? I feel like in life, if you just have those people who are your family, those people that really are your go-tos, and you have just the motivation to just be a better person for yourself, I think you're able to achieve that, and you're going to let go of anyone who doesn't support your dreams. And just having the ability to have your goals really orientates you to just want to achieve them. So I think that's something that I have learned, and I think not many people are going to be in your favor of your career choices, but you know what, just it's what you want at the end of the day for you to achieve.
Yeah, thank you. I see another question is, what advice do you have for students who are shy to ask for help?
I can hop in with this one. I was one of those students if I'm being quite honest. And I think it really goes back to what I said earlier, which is being comfortable, being uncomfortable. I think one thing that I did was tell myself, I'm going to pick one class today to speak up and raise my hand, whether that be to answer a question, or even if you need to start with asking the teacher on the side to ask for help more privately. I think that is the best, is just kind of starting small. And then from there, you are comfortable asking questions. And then you'll notice that in more classes, you're speaking up, and you will be the one who's able to offer help to other people as well. So it's really just doing your best to go out of your way to make that effort to speak up. It's not easy. And you'll notice too, even when I'm speaking here, it's not perfect. I still stutter over words like right now. But the more you do it, the better you get. I now give presentations to CEOs and C-suites of a bunch of different brands and companies. I meet with them on the daily. I have lunches. But if you were to tell me I do this now, I probably wouldn't have thought so when I was younger, just because I would sit there in class and not say a single thing. And I'm sure plenty of my teachers and past friends from elementary to middle school would be shocked, but it honestly all started with me trying and going out of my way to at least ask one question once a day. And then it kind of went from there. You really build up that confidence.
Just want to jump in off what Mia's saying. She's absolutely right. You know, you're going to have to be kind of be comfortable being uncomfortable at times. You know, there's not always going to be a time in life where you're always comfortable. But to the student that asked this question, you know, be brave. You know, I really believe that you can do it, and closed mouths don't get fed. So please speak up. You know, just take that risk, take that leap, and I have faith in you. You know, you can do it. So I just want to say that.
Love the positivity. Another question that we have is, how can I prepare to get a job in sports from a student?
I think it just do anything around sports. You have to start somewhere. And that's something that took me a while to realize. As I was going through college, I started applying for these big positions, whether it was I was going to school in San Diego at the time, and I was applying for big positions with the Padres, with the Chargers, with the Dodgers, the Angels, etc. And I was realizing that I didn't have any experience. And experience is one of the things that plays into your favor when applying for a job in sports. And I think getting any experience, whether it's taking pictures on the sideline at your high school football game, or taking pictures at a volleyball game at your middle school or something like that, I think any of that will play into your favor. And as you start to do that, more and more opportunities will open up. So if you're starting in middle school and high school, maybe there's you can write for your high school newspaper about the sports team. And then going into college, you can start working for the athletics department. After college, now you'll have all these years of experience doing small things in sports, but now you're kind of prepped for a position in sports. And along with that, I think getting to know people in sports really helps as well, and making those connections and putting yourself out there are some of the biggest things that I've learned.
Just to tag along to that, so for me, since I didn't go into the sports industry when I first went to college, it was just making it about connections. I think once you get those connections, and I think you really have to work on just making them, and then you can be led to anywhere. I didn't know I was going to be a part of the Rams a couple months ago, and just with making those connections with the team, I was able to land a position here. So yeah, it's more about connections on my perspective of anything if you're not in the sports industry.
Oscar, I'd love to hear your take on this, since you do a lot of hiring yourself.
Yeah, I was actually going to jump in after Pedro. And I think as a recruiter, what you always look for is those little things. As Pedro said, if you start in middle school and then go to high school and then college, it's almost like chipping at a wall. You hit this wall over and over. Soon you're going to start to see a dent in that wall. And it's exactly that. And when you start having that experience, you realize and you get to the spot in the NFL and you're like, wow, I can do this. I can hang with these amazing people like in this panelist, and I can do this job. And it's because of all that hard work you put down in those middle school years and the high school years. But it takes that effort. It takes being brave. It takes getting your voice out there. It takes making connections. Kind of everyone is saying all the great things that you need to do in order to break this industry. It is a tough industry to break. But I always tell people, if you want to be in this industry, it's always a matter of when and not if. And so you really just keep at it, keep chipping at that wall, and you'll start to see that dent, and you'll start to see yourself kind of build more confidence in this industry. But that's kind of what I've seen. Another question we have here is, how do you celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month? I want to hear from all three of you guys, all four.
Hey, I'm going to be honest. I have a lot of family members with birthdays. So I'm from the LA area, Orange County to be specific, but it's really just getting together with my family. I'm very family oriented, as you probably have figured out throughout this whole panel, but it's really just spending time with them and getting to create some more memories that I have with them.
So it's very similar, obviously, family. But I think also just going out to Mexican restaurants and trying out new food. So I like to do that and just trying new places. Yeah, that's kind of more of my perspective on how I celebrate, but it's mostly just being with my family and going to new Hispanic restaurants to try out.
I think for me, I didn't do anything differently, but just how I embraced Hispanic Heritage Month at our corporation, at our company, was a little bit different this year. Being with the Rams now a year, during Latino Heritage Month, I feel like I was able to sink my teeth more into what we were doing. So whether it was writing on articles on our Hispanic on my Hispanic counterparts, employees, different people within the organization, and featuring those articles, what I was doing, how I was publishing them, when I was putting them on our website, what type of additional coverage we were pushing toward those articles, or different videos. Like we had a mariachi ride along video that was super awesome, and just doing my part in terms of trying to get the most engagement on the video, I guess. So like making like a really cool thumbnail, or pushing our creative team to be more creative with how we were making the thumbnail, just to give it a little bit more love. And I think that's something that I want to continue doing next year and the years that follow with Hispanic Heritage Month.
Being a part of the Latin community, we celebrate every day. I'm so proud to be Latin. I'm so thankful for my family. Unfortunately, my family is all throughout the country, so I can't be with them every day. But I'm so thankful to be a part of the Rams organization, because they have put an emphasis on Latino Heritage Month. So it's awesome to see from the higher ups in the Rams organization. They are giving back to our community, and they are making special events for those Latino people in our organization. And it's really special, and all the Latin people and everybody in the organization is very, very happy and proud to be part of it.
Awesome. Love to hear that. We have a couple more minutes. And so I think the last question, is there any final advice you can give some of these students that are listening in on their career journeys, on life in general? I'll leave it open.
I just want to come here and say, I started in the equipment room, guys. I started folding towels and doing laundry. I started picking up players' towels, players' dirty clothes. It's going to take time. You just trust yourself, believe in yourself, get in the building somewhere if you can. Just realize that, you're not going to become a general manager overnight. You're not going to become a coach overnight. It's going to take these little steps. For me, that was folding towels, and best believe I made sure every towel was as crispy as possible, perfectly folded. Your work ethic's going to speak so much. So, just hang in there, and step by step, you'll get there. And I really believe in every one of you. And I just want to say thank you guys for
My final parting advice would be to enjoy the journey and where you're at right now. It's going to sound really old of me, but time flies by really fast, and enjoy where you're at, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the challenges that you're facing right now. But also don't compare your journey to anyone else. Everyone is very different. So maybe someone is doing something right now that you wish you were doing that, but eventually you're going to get where you need to be. So enjoy it, embrace it, and do your best not to compare yourself to what other people are working on.
I was trying to think of something without speaking in cliches or different things that I've read on gift cards or in books or anything. But I think I would just say continue to learn and be open to learning and improving and constantly growing and embodying a growth mindset. I think that's the best thing you can do, as long as you keep learning and keep wanting to improve. I mean, you guys are here right now, so it just shows that you want to learn more about sports. I think that's super valuable, and always having always being continually educated is never gonna play against you. It's always gonna play in your favor. And my mom always tells me, the more you learn, the more you earn. And God, I said I wasn't gonna say any cliches, but there it is.
Finally for me, I think it's motivation. Just have the motivation to what to do whatever you want in life, for you to accomplish anything. I think that's the number one takeaway for me. If you want it, you're gonna be willing to do it. Yeah, and more of my end.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you all. Motivation, work ethic. We have quotes. We have not comparing yourself to others. I think encapsulating all of that is really just love yourself, love your journey. That is awesome. And I want to give a virtual applause to all of our panelists today for this incredible and inspirational discussion. So thank you guys. And thank you for sharing your perspective. And keys towards character development and pathways towards success. And we really, really appreciate EverFi for making this event possible. We look forward to seeing you all soon in the community. And lastly, go Rams, right? Woo.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.